Right, this is a road test for a Honda Civic. It's a 1.8 Type S GT. This is the I-Shift version, so it's got the semi-automatic gearbox in the car. Car's registered MW56SKV, and the mileage at the start of this road test is 86,114 miles. We now do these road tests for people, so you can see the car in operation prior to coming to see us, just give a bit of confidence to those who are coming from a fair distance away, or close if need to be. We're now selling basically to people all over the near continent and the extremes of the UK, so we like to show the car in operation. This car came on a part exchange very recently, hasn't been validated, hasn't been touched yet. And what I try and do on the road tests is just to go through the car step by step, much as you do yourself. Starting with the engine, good place to start on the Hondas. This is a 1.8 Vtec engine, very smooth, starts absolutely on the button, very sweet revving. It always are. It's a lovely sporty engine actually. There's no warning lights related to the engine or anything else for that matter. Car's running a temperature at the moment of a third of the way up the gauge, which is exactly where it should be. Engine then runs through to this gearbox, which can be used in two ways. It can be used either manually or in automatic. Currently I'm in automatic. It says A for automatic just to the left of the speedo readout, up nice and high up there, so it's nice and easy to use. So basically you can use the gearbox, if you're heavy traffic or otherwise, it's nice just to pop it into A for automatic and just let the car change gear for you. But all other times, personally, and I know not everybody does, but I like to use it in manual mode. So basically any time and at any speed, and I'll do it right now, just tap the gear lever to the left against the spring, I'm now in manual. So basically I will now control when it goes up or down the gearbox. So it says fifth gear because that's the gear it's selected for me to match the forward speed when I made the change of gear. So if I want to go up the gears, really simple, push the gear lever forward, I'm now in sixth gear. When I go down the gears, pull it back towards me, again a nice quality spring, change down to fourth, and it is as simple as that. It's absolutely brilliant. When you change down, it also rev matches, so it just blips the throttle slightly, just so you don't get such too harsh a gear change, which obviously you should do when you're driving a manual car. But it's lovely. It means basically, if I, imaginary scenario now, I was coming up behind a car in front and I wanted to overtake, I'd then maybe go down a couple of gears like that, fourth gear, put my foot down hard, get past the car, and then change up. It is so clever. But the problem with automatics is the fact that, they're great for driving around town, but when you come to undertaking a manoeuvre like an overtaking manoeuvre, sometimes they're inclined to change up a gear or down a gear halfway through that manoeuvre, and it can leave you floundering. This means basically you're in total control of the car, and you can determine when you make that change of gear. It also means if you're coming up to corners that may want a slightly lower gear rather than the car sort of washing away with you, you can do it yourself. Also, if you're coming to a roundabout that you happen to know particularly well, you want to exit in second gear, the automatic might want to exit in third gear, which isn't ideal for accelerating away. It is so brilliant, so simple to use. But what's really clever about it, even in manual mode, obviously it won't change up the gear for you, but what it will do is change down gear for you if it feels as though the gear you're in is too slow. So I'm going to do it deliberately now. I'm in fifth gear, I'm going to turn left. There's no way in the world it's going to want to go up this hill in fifth gear. So it's actually selected third gear for me, and I can then drop it down to second if I so wish. And it's just a very, very, very simple, easy to use gearbox, and takes all the strain out of driving the car. So it's kind of got the best. So look, blast past this cyclist now. If I was in automatic, I'd probably be still coming towards that car now. It's a perfect example. Gearbox, all its functions work absolutely fine. And because it's got a 6-speed gearbox, which is basically the internals of the manual, you still get an extraordinary sort of 43, 44 to the gallon, whereas the old 1.6 automatics with conventional torque converters would be running around sort of mid-30s if they were lucky. So you're getting miles better economy, and you're getting the best of both worlds. It's really, really good. Steering on the car, absolutely no vibration at all. Tracks bullet straight. There's a lovely precise steering on the car, and suspension on the car drives nice and smoothly. I can't feel any sort of shudders or shakes coming back up through the suspension of the vehicle, so which would suggest a little bit of wear in the car. It's the brake pedal, rock solid, right at the top. Nice positive bite of the brakes as well. So in terms of the drive of the car, absolutely fine. It's a very, very nice order actually. It's been serviced very well, to be fair to it. Look around the dashboard itself. Again, I do love these dashboards. It's a wonderful place to sit. You've got this lovely high up display for the miles per hour, which means you can look ahead at the car in front but take out the information. It's just really well done. Main binnacle there, again, just nice, simple, easy to use, taking the information. But the whole thing is beautifully styled, and it's not over styled and at the expense of function. It works absolutely brilliantly. So being a GT model, sorry, just park in front of that car there quickly. It has a much higher spec than the standard Type S. So you've got this lovely big panoramic roof, cruise control, climate control. It's a much better spec than the standard basic version. So don't be duped by people telling you they've got a Type S GT when it actually isn't. It must have this glass roof, and it must have cruise and front fog lights, that kind of stuff. But all in all, as I said, I know it's only brief, but just to give you a quick look at the car, I can't find anything on the car that would concern me in any way. It drives really nicely.